Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee Break. My name is Fleetus Poston, and today I'd like to talk about the CISO's Guide to Translating Technical Risk into Business Language. Here's a Saturday morning truth. Your brilliant security insights mean nothing if the C level doesn't understand them. So picture this. You're sitting in the executive conference room, slides loaded with vulnerability metrics, threat intelligence reports, and risk matrices. You spent weeks preparing what you consider a compelling case for increased security investment. 15 minutes in, you notice the CFO checking email. The CEO's eyes have glazed over, and someone actually asks, "So, are we secure or not?" Does this sound familiar? Welcome to every CISO's greatest challenge, the translation gap. Here's what I've learned after years of watching security professionals fail to get buy in for critical initiatives. The problem isn't that executives don't care about security, it's that we're speaking entirely different languages. This is where the great translation challenge comes into play. Think about it this way: you wouldn't explain a heart surgery to a patient using the same language you'd use with another cardiac surgeon. Yet, that's exactly what most CISOs do when presenting to business leadership. We say we've identified 847 high severity vulnerabilities across our attack surface with a CVSS score distribution indicating significant exposure to APT groups leveraging zero-day exploits. They hear blah, 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 technical stuff, blah, we might have a problem. The disconnect isn't about intelligence or importance, it's about context, priorities, and quite frankly, survival instincts. This is where understanding your audience mental model comes into play. Before you can translate effectively, you need to understand how business executives actually think about risk. Spoiler alert, it's nothing like how we think about it in cybersecurity. Your CEO's reality. They're juggling market competition, investor expectations, regulatory pressures, and operational challenges. When you walk in talking about threat vectors, they're mentally translating that into another problem to solve with limited time and budget. Versus your CFO's lens. Everything gets filtered through a financial impact and resource allocation. They don't care about your vulnerability count. They care about whether those vulnerabilities could cost more to fix than to ignore, and how that math changes over time. Next is your board's perspective. They're thinking about reputation, liability, and strategic positioning. Technical details are interesting, but what they want to know is, are we going to end up on the front page of the Wall Street Journal for the wrong reasons? This is where the art of business friendly risk translation comes into play. Here's a secret sauce: stop talking about what could happen to your systems and start talking about what could happen to the business outcomes they care about. Instead of endpoint detection response solution has identified potential lateral movement patterns consistent with advanced persistent threat actors to try, we've detected suspicious activity that could indicate someone is trying to access our customer database. If successful, this could expose us to the same type of breach that cost Equifax $700 million and their job. Instead of, we need to implement zero trust architecture to reduce our attack surface, try this. We want to build a security model that lets our employees work from anywhere while ensuring that a compromised laptop in a coffee shop can't access our entire network. This supports our hybrid work strategy while reducing the risk of a breach that could shut down operations. So, my next topic for you is the three-layer communication strategy. Effective risk translation happens at three levels. You need all three to succeed. The layer one is the headline. This is your elevator pitch. What's the one thing they absolutely must understand? For example, We're one successful phishing attack away from losing customer trust and market share. Another is our current security gaps could delay our planned expansion into Europe due to regulatory compliance issues. Or we can prevent 90% of potential breaches with a $200,000 investment, but recovering from one breach average us a cost of about $4.5 million. Next is layer two, the business impact. Connect technical risk to business outcomes that they will recognize. The first is a revenue impact. A ransomware attack could shut down our e-commerce platform during Black Friday. The competitive advantage. Our competitors are advertising their security certifications and attestations to win enterprise clients. Next is our regulatory consequences. Non-compliance could result in fines equal to 4% of our annual revenue. That'll get the CFO's attention. Then you've got layer three, the technical details, when it's needed. Only dive into technical specifics when they ask. And when they do ask, use analogies they understand. This is where the power of analogies and storytelling will save us our job. Numbers are abstract, stories are memorable. Here are some translation techniques that actually work. The first is the house security model. Think of your network like a house. Right now, we have good locks on the front door. That's our perimeter, our firewalls. But once someone gets inside, they can access every room. That's lateral movement. We need to lock doors to individual rooms. That's your network segmentation. So that a break in doesn't compromise everything. Another, the insurance comparison. We spend 50 to 100K annually on fire insurance for a building that's never burned down. We're asking for 75K for cyber insurance plus preventative measures for threats that attackers like our company deal with every day. The next is a medical checkup analogy. Just like you and I get a regular health screening to catch problems early, they're treatable. We need regular security assessments to identify vulnerabilities before attackers exploit them. This is prevention versus detection. Then you got to use quantifiable, unquantifiable data. Business leaders love numbers, but cybersecurity is full of uncertainties. Here's how to bridge that gap. Make sure you're using industry benchmarks instead of saying we might get breached. Say companies our size experience an average of 3.2 significant security incidents per year, with an average cost of 1.2 million per incident. That'll get their attention. The next is your risk probability framework. Based on our current security posture and industry data, we estimate a 35% chance of a material security incident in the next 12 months. This investment would reduce that to about 8%. Your cost avoidance calculations. Business terms work. The average cost to recover from a ransomware attack in our industry is 4.2 million and 23 days of downtime. This security upgrade cost us 300,000 and could prevent 80% of a successful ransomware attack. So now's the so what test. Every technical risk you present should pass the so what test. Practice finishing the sentence. If this risk materializes, the business impact will be. Here's a bad example. Our SSL certificates are expiring next month. So what? If they expire, customers will see security warnings when accessing our website, potentially losing sales and a damage to our brand reputation during the busiest season. Here's another bad example. We have unpatched vulnerabilities in our web application. So what? Attackers could exploit these to access customer payment information, resulting in PCI compliance violations, potential lawsuits, and the immediate suspension of our ability to process credit cards. Ouch. So here's another thing to think about. Common translation mistakes that you and I need to avoid. The first is the cry wolf problem. If everything is critical and urgent, nothing is. Save your high severity language for genuine business threatening issues. Don't use technical jargon, it's a trap. Using acronyms and technical terms doesn't make you sound smarter. It makes you sound like you don't understand your audience. Next is FUD, the fear only approach. While fear can be motivating, leading exclusively with doom scenarios makes you sound like Chicken Little. Some of you may not get that reference. Balance risk communication with opportunity and positive outcomes. Lastly, here, the perfect security fallacy. Don't promise that your proposed solution will eliminate all risk. Business leaders understand that business involve risk. They want to know how you're managing it intelligently. So here's your weekend homework assignment. Grab your coffee and do this exercise. Take your latest security presentation and rewrite the executive summary using only words your non-technical spouse or teenager would understand. 2, pick your top 3 security risks and complete the sentence for each. If this happened, our customers will experience blank. 3rd, find 3 recent news stories about cybersecurity incidents at companies similar to yours. Note how the business impact is described in the media. That's your translation guide. Fourthly, practice the elevator pitch for your most important security initiative. Time yourself. If you can't explain the business value in 30 seconds, you're not ready for the boardroom. So, your Monday morning reality check. Here's your litmus test. If you present a security risk and the first question is, what does this mean for the business? You've already failed the translation test. The business impact should be so clear that from your presentation that the questions become, how do we fix this? What do you need from us? So, build your translation toolkit. Create a risk translation cheat sheet, customer impact language, revenue impact calculations, regulatory compliance summaries. Think about competitive disadvantage scenarios. What is our operational disruption descriptions? This will allow you to develop your analogy library. Keep a collection of analogies that resonate with your specific leadership team. The medical analogies that work for a healthcare CEO might fall flat with a manufacturing executive. You must stay current on the business priorities as a security leader. Read the same business publications your executives read. Understand their strategic initiatives. When you can tie cybersecurity to their existing priorities, you become a strategic partner instead of a call center. Thus, you and I must play the long game. Effective risk translation isn't just about getting budget approval for your next security project. It's about fundamentally changing how your organization thinks about cybersecurity from a necessary evil to a business enabler. When you consistently communicate in business language, something magical happens. Executives stop seeing you as the security person and start seeing you as a business leader who happens to specialize in managing cyber risk. So here's your coffee break challenge. This week, pick one security metric you currently report and completely rewrite it in business language. Test it on a non-technical colleague. If they immediately understand the business impact, you're now on the right track. Remember, your technical expertise is table stakes. Your ability to translate that expertise into business value is what makes you indispensable. So, as always, stay safe and stay secure, everyone.